Hi guys, welcome in another episode. I've been doing some design behind the scenes. This is what I have come with. Actually, I quite like it. I think it could do some more work. It's still just a draft, but it's a good starting point, I would say. So today we'll handle permissions in our teams. So the way we'll approach this one is to install spotty Laravel permission, and then we'll assign proper role to users. So let's start with this one. Okay, so apparently our package got installed. Now let's head to our seeders. And create a new seeder. So at the moment our seeders contain only data to seed for local and staging environment. I think it would be a good approach to separate them and create proper seeders for each environment, or at least group them into a production one and then the other ones for testing. So the way we can approach this is with checking current app environment and check if that's production. And then we can run proper production seeders. In any other case, we can just run our local seeders. So let's move our user seeder to the local seeders. And then create a seeder for our newly installed roles. Okay, our seeder got created. So the role seeder will be used both on production and in local environment. So let's call it before this if statement. And create a new role with name of let's think about this. So we could actually create a role for like a user, then create a new one for the team lead. And then create one for admin. And this should work. Okay, so now actually we could just run artisan migrate fresh and then add the seed option. This will rerun every migration from start and then seed our database. Okay, so right now we are creating our roles, but what would be nice is we could assign a proper role for our user owning a team. But before we can do this, we have to use a trait in user model. Trait is named has roles, and this will give us access to proper functions to manipulate users' roles. And now we can simply assign a role of team lead to the user that created a team. And let's create another one Okay, this should do the trick. Okay, so now if we go into our Tinker and find the first user, we will see that his roles is a team lead, and if we find the second user, his role is user. So this one is taken care of. Okay, so now the last thing we need to do, I mean, it would be cool if we could, as a team lead, see a table of all users that are assigned to our team, and maybe in the future add some, invite some new users, but this is a topic for another episode. So let's start with a list view. Yeah, so let's start with creating a team view. I think that's quite appropriate. We'll add a graph and fill this out in a little bit. Then what I use for my icons is hero icons. Here we can search for some, I think this one looks pretty good. And then we can just paste them in our HTML. Give them proper class. And do some styling based on current root. So now let's create a new controller called team controller. Okay, and now we simply have to create some basic CRUD roots. So let's start with the view, with the index view. If root is team.index, then we'll say that this one is active, give this one a root of team.index, and we should be good to go. Yeah, of course, our method index doesn't exist in team controller, so that's something we have to take care of. Name it team, and here we'll assign and pass the variable to the view so we can operate on this, but first let's create a view. This view should extend the layout dashboard and just say hello for the start in the content section. Check if this one works, and it surely does. So now what we actually need to do is that we don't want regular users to see this view, even see this link on the sidebar. So we can add a helper. We can use a helper called role and pass the team lead, and only user with this specific role will see this link. Just let me give you an example. if we go into our app on another account and log in with johnexample.com, password was test, I believe. Yeah, and let's use the password from password manager. Okay, so as you can see, we cannot really even see the link on the sidebar, so that's what we want. So actually, we'll pass a theme from current user and pass it to the view. I like to keep my controllers and overall my code as strictly typed as it can be, so I will declare the doc block and return type. So now, as this variable is in our view, there is nothing stopping us from checking the current team name. Yeah, we didn't really specify a relationship in our user model to the team, so our team will actually has one. Sorry, it belongs to a team class. And now this one should work. Yep, and it surely does. Okay, so now give me some time to style this a little bit, and then we'll move forward. Okay guys, so I'm back. I've been doing some work, like I mainly copied the Tailwind UI version of these of tables. I've done some customization. Okay, maybe just dive into the code and I can show you what I mean. Yes, so in the team controller, I have added to fetch the team with its members. Then we are passing it all to this view. And yeah, basically like all the magic, like there is pretty much no magic at all. I have created the getRole function that is called on the user. It simply returns the translation key for currently assigned role. We do not expect the users to have more than one, so this function call is pretty safe. It is simply a lookup table of all of our roles keys and our proper roles names. So this will just return a name for the user. What I like to do is show the created at in some different formats. This one seems a little bit too bloated and too detailed. So let's create a function called created, and simply return this created at in proper format. Maybe we can make this one actually customizable, so let's create something like Workkit date format. Then go to the config, create a new one. And simply reference an env variable date format. Don't also forget to add these two in env example, so everyone working on your app in the future won't have any trouble with the setup. Let's make it in the day, month, year, then full hours and minutes. I believe that should be okay. Okay, I think we have a naming issue because like the model itself have a static created function. So let's switch our function name to created at. It may be confusing. We might think of some better naming. Yeah, and it stopped working. That's great. That's because we didn't specify anything in the env, only in the env example. Let's give it a refresh. Yeah, it should be small month. Yeah, this one works for me, at least for now. In case we want to change it, we simply have to change it in one place and then it will update accordingly. So next thing to do would be to add ability to delete and edit the users. A nice search bar would also be something to consider. We could also give this page a name, so it would stand out like from the other pages. A nice big header is something that would be for sure something good. Also, as you can see, I have left off the fields for the member title and member department. That's something that we'll be adding in future episodes. I don't really want this series to be another code tutorial, so I'll be skipping out the process of like editing a member or deleting it. I think it's not really something enjoyable to watch. You would also leave your feedback in the comments to indicate if that's something that you want guys to see, or if that's something that should be skipped out and only like the serious coding like the chat app or calendar app should be shown here in the video. Also, as you can see, I've been doing these new like fancy avatars. I have created a very simple view component for that. I can show you how this works. So it's simply a very simple, pretty much very simple code that will like get a char offset of a name that we pass to this component, and then we will simply fetch a class from the array and give it a proper background color. Also, if we specify a height or a width, I mean, we only work for height because like the intention of it is to be a square. So we'll generate a height class and background class and then attach it to the component. The other thing I did is the dropdown component. That's pretty simple. You can check how this works here. So if I press escape or simply click outside, this will toggle the dropdown. It pretty much just listens for the escape, has just one toggle, and creates a fixed like this overlay on the entire page when we click. Just let me show you guys. This one. If we click like outside, it's invisible for the user. So if we click this one, it simply toggles the dropdown. So that's another like one of these little components that I copy from one project to another. And the usage is actually quite I believe it's called many. Yeah, right. The usage is quite nice. You just wrap your handler into a slot called handle, and then pass anything in the default slot that would be shown as a drop-down menu. And yeah, that's basically it. So behind the scenes, I will make sure that everything is working here, so we'll be able to delete and edit members. Maybe not even edit them, but toggle their status, so there would be active or non-active. At the moment, the active status is based on on the verified ad field, email verified ad. But later on, we'll switch this to a toggle, and then the user's active would be added to our billing cycle, and the non-active wouldn't be added. But yeah, I guess this would come in handy, as sometimes we would just simply, if we, let's say, fire someone from our company, we wouldn't really want to delete their data, even if it's soft-deleted. You would simply want to disable them. Yeah, so the last thing I want to do is install Laravel debugbar. It's a cool package by Barry VDH, and that will help us in debugging our app. So let's simply install it. Okay, our package got installed. This should be working out of the box. So if we give it a refresh, we can see this Laravel logo in the left bottom corner. If we click on this, we can check all the queries that has been executed, all the models that has been hydrated, and how much time the request took, how much memory it used. And yeah, I think like you should be pretty familiar with this package if you're watching this series. So yeah, I believe that's everything for today. In the next episode, we'll move on to something more exciting, like the chat or calendar. I believe we would start with chat. So yeah, I hope you like this episode. Hope to see you in the next one. Thank you guys. Bye bye.